Team USA did not place in the World Cup. Not only did they lose to Germany to not go for the gold medal, they followed that up with a loss to Team Canada, which featured an all-star guy in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But if we're being honest, Team Canada was led by none other than Houston Rockets forward Dillon Brooks, who dropped 39 points in this game to beat Team USA, the most points scored in a World Cup game since Dirk Nowitzki dropped 43 a decade ago. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, it was Dillon Brooks, which I love that, by the way. Personally, I love that it was Dillon Brooks, of anybody, that dropped 43 and helped lead Canada to a win over Team USA, who again will not place at all in this year's World Cup. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is just more telling of the times that we're in. I have been screaming this stuff for years, and I feel like more people are starting to listen to me now. I'm not a basketball aficionado, but I do love and cover this game night in, night out. I have been screaming for years, USA ain't got enough dogs anymore. If you look at the landscape of basketball, how these dudes are hooping from the AAU level on up, high school, college, you name it, the ways that these young bulls are making it to the league is different. We call the NBA the place where middle class and on up now is leading the charge. I'm not tripping over that. I think it's dope that we're seeing people and families put their money to use and invest it in their kids, which is helping them become professional basketball players. It's teaching them the right ways, how to play the game, how to facilitate, footwork, durability, all that great stuff is happening with kids nowadays because more money is invested. Not to mention that we're now seeing a lot of second generation basketball players come down the pipeline. Father was an NBA player, played a couple years in the league. We're even seeing track star mothers, if I'm not mistaken. JaVale McGee's mom was a track star in her own right. Her son, obviously a professional basketball player. So we're seeing parents put their monies into the kid. The problem is you can't create the story for your kid. Your kid's got to go find the story himself. See, I come up in an era, I'm 29, my story was created for me. That's just it. I grew up in poverty. I grew up in the hood. It just is what it is. So my story was getting out. That was my whole thing. And a lot of players of old, their thing was to get out. Okay, you look at the landscape of today, a lot of these young bulls are already out. So what's their story? And without that story, you can't be a dog. I've been hearing Deion Sanders at Colorado. He been screaming, I got leaders, then I got dogs. All my dogs ain't leaders, but all my leaders ain't dogs. All right? Drake about to drop an album for all the dogs. The dogs. Team USA lacked 5 dogs. Anthony Edwards, for the most part, was a dog. He didn't have any dog teammates. And that's why this team that has a crap ton of talent on it fell short to Dillon Brooks for a bronze medal. That's why. And that's the reality of America. The reality is where basketball is today is if you got 2 comparable players, I am picking the talent that's not from the States because what we're seeing is the talent that's not from the States plays with a bigger chip on their shoulder than the talent that is from the USA. The irony in Dillon Brooks dropping 39 points when his reputation in the league literally is he can't shoot. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't miss a 3-pointer in the first half. I don't think he missed but 1 3-pointer against Team USA altogether. He goes out the country, becomes one of the greatest 3-point shooters in World Cup history. He can't make 2 threes a game in the NBA. It's a fact. He goes 1 for 6 all the time in the NBA from 3. What's the difference between Dillon Brooks in the NBA and Dillon Brooks at the World Cup? He felt like because the talent was comparable, he had more of that dog in him. The USA's got problems, man. I'm telling you. Now, obviously, next year, I do believe the USA is going to be able to put out a product that will be more than enough to take care of business. If think about it from this perspective, right? Jokic is going to have to play a long season, and the way he plays basketball, it won't allow for him to be 100% the player he needs to be for the Denver Nuggets and 100% the player that he needs to be for Serbia, right? The thing is, and it speaks to what we're saying, guys like Giannis and Jokic, they're giving it their all for the NBA, which a lot of NBA players are not giving it their all for the NBA. It can't be the best of both worlds. So with a guy like Giannis and a guy like Jokic, a guy like, we'll see what happens with Embiid. I don't necessarily put him at the list. I got Giannis, Jokic. These dudes care about the product in the NBA so much that they're not going to cheat the team that's paying them, the product that's paying them, the company that's paying them. So to think that they're going to be goods to go for the Olympics next year, I'm not so sure if that's going to be the case. So when the USA is able to put out a couple of better players, we'll see if Kevin Durant decides to give it one more go. We'll see if Steph Curry decides to give it a go. We'll see if LeBron, who's been playing around on social media, decides to give it a go to kind of add another legacy piece. If he's able to win another gold medal pretty much at age 40. If the Team USA is able to just to add a couple more top 15 level guys, they'll win next year. But when we're talking about in World Cup games like this, I'm not surprised one bit. Mikal Bridges is an all-star caliber guy, and it's like he'll make the all-star team next year. You know, you're looking at guys like Brandon Ingram, who's expected to be a number 2 option on the Pelicans. Jalen Brunson, he was the number 1 option for the Knicks in the playoffs. Austin Reeves is now a number 3 option for the Lakers. We can go up and down. Anthony Edwards is probably a number 1 in Minnesota nowadays. Go up and down that Team USA roster, and all of these guys are expected to be more valuable offensively than Dillon Brooks, who just put up a 39 spot for Team Canada. Dennis Schroder went to work on Team USA as well a game ago. What we're learning is if you make the talents comparable, the talent that comes from more humble beginnings, which a lot of these dudes that come from Canada, Germany, wherever the case may be, their beginnings are much more humble. They don't take things for granted as much as the Team USA talent. If the talents are comparable at any level, whether we're talking stars, superstars, role players, it feels like we're getting towards that international talent winning because they got more of that in them.